Barbara Ehrenreich, who I really admire, wrote these books like Nickel and Dimed. And didn't she do another book or a speaking tour about the corporations that are trying to make us just be quiet and be happy? And I admired that, but I also completely admire what you're talking about today. So is there any way you can tie it together for me?
I just got through reading her book, Right-Sightedness. And essentially she talks about how corporations have used this idea about being happy and positive all the time, have used it to manipulate workers. And that if you're not a team member, if you're not acting happy all the time, and so people who complained or whistleblowers were fired. And so it's a tool to manipulate, and I think it's really important to bring that up, that we don't let that happen, that we're talking about happiness in a deeper sense rather than just putting on the happy face. So good issue to bring up.
Chris Hedges, in his book Empire of Illusion, has a chapter on the same. I think we very much need to pay attention to that, but I think that was bright-sided. Barbara Ehrenreich's book was very one-sided in that it didn't look at some of the very positive implications of happiness science and the work and activities that are being done around it to actually fight for greater equality and for more justice and for a better society. And we're told that we can take just one more question.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, I mean, in our society, at least as I travel around, in particular the last couple of years, the stress area is of all those indicators up there, that's the one that ratchets off the charts, because as people are falling off the economic cliff, that's, losing homes, losing jobs, losing that survival. It seems like, Bhutan, that's not, even without a lot of material wealth, but that day-to-day survival is not in jeopardy in that same way. And so it seems like one of the key aspects to me would be to be able to join, and some of you folks have written about that, to be able to join that question of how do you get that sort of basic survival so that you're not feeling, oh my God, I will not have enough to eat, a place to live, a place to work, and then are able to say, well, what does make me happy? So that seems to me the sort of the crux of particularly now with the economic crash.
Does anyone want to comment?
Can I just say one thing?
I do want to announce that the Tea Party, the party with tea, is at what's called Ballard's Old Church, 2007 Northwest 61st Street. And information on many of these things can be found on Anjani's website, which is www.GNHWorldProject.com, right? Right. I got it right. Okay. So any of our panelists want to have the last word?
In relation to what Paul was saying, I think, Cecile, I think we would all agree on this one, is that the felicitous place where all of this comes together is in community. And it's, with the GNH, with conviviality and social connection and cultural integrity and all of these things of feeling that you're held in a community where you're safe and that you can trust and that where you'll be met and received. And in the economic terms, basically money has been a very good way for us to not have to need other people. And so as the money, as our experience of being able to have a large supply of money coming through, we start to have to turn to one another. And that first looks like the bad news, but it could be the good news, because that's going to help our economic ability to survive economically, because we're going to start to share resources. So it's basically all of the fingers are pointing in this initiative towards what we have lost in our drive to economic growth is our social connections. And what we're going to regain as we start to reweaving the web of community that's going to make us wealthier in a more sustainable way, in a broad scale base of wealth, which is not just financial wealth, but which is cultural wealth and family wealth. And so I'm just saying that is actually pointing to what, once we grieve the loss of what we thought we were going to get, we start to discover one another.
And John, I just want to finish with the words of Studs Terkel. When people ask him right before he died, what did he learn from the Great Depression? And he said, turn to each other, turn to community, because the big boys are not that bright.
I think we're seeing that today. So want to thank the Green Festival for inviting us here. It's a wonderful event, the Green Festival. Thanks to them so much. Thanks to you for coming in. Please, let's give one more round of applause to our distinguished visitor.